Nice. All right. I know you can't see in here too well. The light ain't perfect. But I started peeling away. Right here, I peeled a piece of, and the releases worked perfect. So I don't have to worry about that. This is going to release out of here with no problem. See how it's not sticking to the stone? Thanks to the sealant, the sealer and the release. But here's what we're going to do. We're on the scale, because I'm going to put this foam right over top of this so you can see the process of the foam bubbling up. First of all, I'm going to mix up 400 grams of Part B, all right, and 200 grams of Part A, TC266. This is a variable density foam. All right, now I did this on the other video, but I'm not going to show this. You're not going to see me mixing this up. And all I'm doing is I'm making sure that I have my scale on. I got my new bucket, got my mixer, and here's what I'm going to be doing. Here is an 1.25 inch pipe. All right, you see the dowel wood that I have here? That fits on there perfect. Very little play. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to position this inside the mask, inside the master copy, and then put the foam in around it. All right. Now this is going to stick up, and I want to make sure that it's fairly level. I got to make sure it's hanging level inside of there. This way, when I go to put the dowel on there, it'll sit on the dowel real nice. You'll see the whole process. But what I'm going to do is put the my phone on the stand. I won't be able to see your comments until after I get done this process. But this is quick. And then once I put the foam in there and the pipes in place, then what I'm going to do is let it sit for 3 hours. And then I'm going to demold this today. And the bonus is later on today, I'm going to make another master copy. I'm going to make another stone mold from this master copy. And it's going to be a one-piece mold, so I won't have to have the seam. That'll be a nice twist. So, okay, first thing I want to do is I want to put the foam in the position so you can see what's going on. All right. Oops. Yeah, that's right. Loosen it up, baby. Gonna make sure you can see what I'm seeing. Well, I'm not seeing anything, to tell you the truth. I don't see this. I gotta look at the phone screen. Make sure I'm lined up over the hole. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yep. Okay. Now I can't see your comments, guys, because I'm going to be mixing some foam right now. I got to put my wisdom together here, and all right, we're going to zero this out. Put that on there. That's 69 grams, that little bucket. 68 grams. That's zeroed out. Now I'm putting the white part of the foam, and that's the part B goes in first. You're not seeing me do this. Well, I got to mix it up a little bit. Always shake up your foam. Pretty good. Okay, so we got to put 400 grams in here. Already at 2. $3, 27, 28. 336. going real slow because I want to try to get as close to 400 perfectly. Three, 64, 71, 86. We're getting close now. 99, 400 grams, perfect. I got 400 grams exactly in this bucket. Now I'm going to add 200 grams of this, bring it up to 600 grams total. Mix this up real quick. Ooh, got crusty around the edge of the cap here. Now we're going to do 600 grams total. $75, 86. And one more drop. It's $5.98. There we go. Good enough. And I still got enough to do probably 2 more masks. Foam filling anyway. I don't have to. Okay, now I gotta mix this up real vigorously. Don't have much time. 30 seconds is about all you want. I'm mixing this up real vigorously. Don't care about air bubbles because it's going to foam up. It's already starting to foam now. All right, so now we take this, we hang this thing upside down. And I'm going to place it in. That's almost perfect. See it puffing up, guys? Yeah. That's already stiff enough to where this pipe is not going to sink now. See that stuff, boom, blew up that fast. All right. Now hopefully my pipe's not crooked. If it is, I'll worry about it later. I'll just make the pipe real short. Now that's got to sit for 3 hours before I can mess with this. I got to make sure that this really firms up. Oh yeah. Look at all the foam that's still in the, well, there's still a lot of foam inside the bucket, which is okay. Because I don't need all of it. I just wanted to make sure I have excess. I have to have enough to fill this void real good. Now that foam will stick to that urethane rubber real good. That won't want to come off. Yeah, I have to let that sit for at least 2 to 3 hours. So that process is really quick. Foam filling the bucket is, or foam filling the heads are really fast. The TC266 is a variable density foam. And why I say variable density is the more of the part A that you add to the part B, the stiffer the foam gets. to be a stiffer foam, but it's still a very soft foam compared to, like, you know, fence post foam or something like that. That you can't do this kind of thing. Well, you can, as long as you don't peel your. Well, that's a #1 rule anyway, so I might as well say that right from the get-go. You never, I don't care whether it's latex, you never take your urethane or latex mask out of the mold when you're making a master copy. Before, you have to make sure that you put the foam in first before you demold it, because if you demold it and then try to make it fit back in there perfectly, and if something's not aligned perfectly, and you put that foam in there and it blows it out, it'll mess up your whole mask. So always put your foam in the master copy before you demold it. All right. Now, the foam is very soft, and you want it to be soft because you're not trying to. When you demold this, like if I had this in a one-piece mold, I'd have to pry away, you know, away from the walls, and let's say I make a new mold and it's a one-piece mold. Well, I got to pull that out of that hole. I got to pull that mask out of that hole without having any issues with it being stuck in the mold, and that can happen. You know, it just depends on how thick of a copy you make, and that's why this is important, that this has to be soft, because you have to be able to collapse it. You have to be able to, you know, when you're pulling it out of the mold, you got to be able to. Worst case scenario, I peel some of the foam out of the head if I have a stuck mold. If I can't get the master copy out of the mold, out of the one-piece mold, I'll just pick away some of the foam down into the head so I can collapse it, so I can pull it out. That's the best way to do it. But I mean, that's if you need to. I try to keep my foam right even with my neckline when I cut it. I'll cut that, and then I'll cut this pipe. I'll cut this pipe down a little lower, so this way when this sits, this base here, when this sits inside of this, I want this base to be flush with the neck. This way this neck is literally touching the table. Right at the bottom of the neck is touching the table when I go to make the new master copy. Not the new mold. I have to make sure that neckline is touching the top of the, you know, tabletop that I'm making the mold on. That's my lazy Susan over there, which got wet and warped a little bit, so I'm prying it up and trying to unwarp it. Yeah, I'm not quite awake. I haven't had my coffee yet. I haven't done nothing. I worked real late last night. You guys know I was out here with, doing the mold till 11 o'clock at night. And today it's about getting another copy of this master done. I can't wait to pull this out of here and see how well, you know, how nice it looks. Hopefully I don't have any issues. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't want any issues. I'm trying to get this done, and now I'll keep this mold. You know, in case I need to make another urethane copy, I can, because I released this mold really well, where this rubber's not sticking to it at all. It's coming right off, which is really nice, you know, because that means I'll be able to clean this rubber off this mold completely and not have anything stuck to it. And I can always make another urethane copy from it. I can't make another latex mask from this, but I can make a urethane copy from here. And you never know, something happens to the mold, and, you know, it gets torn in the process of taking it out of another, you know, out of another stone mold. I can tear it, but you know, like I have a thin area. Now, what's even worse, I'll tell you what usually happens. That first layer of urethane that I put up against these walls, it's not very thick. It's you know, it's fairly thin. And then what happens is when I put that second thick batch in there, if there's any pockets of air between that first layer and that second layer, and that's why it's very important to really make sure you don't have any air pockets between the two coats, because what will happen is when I go to demold, I can tear away that little piece of you know, like say wherever the air pocket is, it'll pull away and it'll rip that section and then expose that air pocket. And then all of a sudden, now you've got an ear that's got like say it's the ear right around in the deeper areas. All of a sudden, you'll have this hole in your master copy, and that's not good. So it's a learning curve. You know, everything you're doing with this stuff. You know, you have to. Yeah, see how firm that is. Sticky though. That can't be sticky. That's got to be dry. To the touch. So you can hear it sticking. Listen, sticking to my hand. You don't want that stickiness. You want it to be firm and dry. You know, so that's going to be at least 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and I'm probably going to go work on some music while I'm doing, because I got to. Now it's just wait. Now it's just wait and then do the demolding process, and then I'm going to start making the master copy. You know, provided that the mold turned out good. You know, if the molds, if there's air pockets or soft spots, or I got to see how it looks. I got to see how it turned out, and then we'll know. We'll know whether or not I can make another stone. Master mold. All right, let's get this straight. The stone is the mold. The master copy is the what's the right word for it? Is the casting. Okay. This is the casting. This is the casting, and this is the mold. It sounds stupid, but I always seem like I never get this right. So I'm going to make another mold from this casting, provided this casting is actually really good shape. And I'm betting that it's perfect. So, because I really went the extra mile to make sure that I pushed all around to make sure there was no pockets of air in between the two coats. Very important. No air pockets, can't have it. And now I'm going to say good morning to you, and I'll be back in about 2 to 3 hours. Well, about 3 hours. I'm not going to play around. I want to make sure this is nice and firm, nice and cured. So let's take this off of here. Let's see if anybody's on. Say hello. I got 2 people on. Yes, that's all foam filled. There's my variable density foam. Now I showed it in my other video on how you mix this stuff, all right? And this is the extra left out of the bucket that I didn't scrape out because I just couldn't do that and hold the pipe too. So I don't have 3 arms anyway, or 3 hands. Variable density foam, you pour that into your bucket first, and I use a ratio of 100 to 50 ratio. All right, so it's 100 grams of this and 50 grams of that. All right, so if I put 400 grams, which about fills the mass just like that. All right, that's a perfect amount. 400 grams of this into the bucket first on the scale. So you weigh it as you're pouring it in. You zero it out when you have your bucket on there. This way your bucket, you don't want the weight of the bucket showing. So you pour in the 400 grams and you come back. Well, 4 times 50 is 200. So we're going to put 200 grams into this variable foam in the bucket, and it'll bring it up to 600 grams. And you got to vigorously mix this for like 30 seconds. And I mean, that started to foam up before I even finished mixing. So I had to get it into that hole quick. So that stuff really activates fast. You got about 30 seconds of mixing time, and then you got to pour it in that hole. Make sure you have, I make another mold over top of my casting. You want the support. So this way that if I were to just put this with and just let it sit with the foam, these walls sometimes can like get funky. They'll because of the weight of this urethane is very heavy. And the neck can get all, just like bulged out or, concaved in. The neck can get really messed up. It happened to me once before. I learned that lesson, and that's when I knew that I had to have the support inside the mold. And that's what I did with this. Now what'll happen is this pipe's longer than this dowel rod. So the dowel rod, the pipe will go over top of the dowel rod, and this wood, this will stop that'll stop against that block of wood. And let me see what you guys are saying. Any questions? Let's see. London Moore, how long did you let the foam cure for? I'm going to let this foam, now we're talking about this stuff, right? We're going to let that cure for about 2 to 3 hours. This can't be, it's sticky. Oh, it's actually starting to lose its stickiness, but then we're pretty humid out here today. It's clouding up. So the humidity's helping this, but it's pretty firm, which is good. That's what I want. I want a fairly firm mold. But I'm going to let this cure for at least 2 to 3 hours out of here in the air. Whatever you do, when you pour this into the hole, don't put your face over this at all, because this foam, all foams basically release gas, and the gas is cyanide. All right, that's cyanide. That gas that comes out is cyanide. You do not want to breathe in cyanide. Trust me. That's what they use to gas people to kill them. So make sure your face is not near the hole when you're pouring that in, and don't breathe that in. So just so you know, all foams, doesn't matter what kind, it's just variable densities, different chemicals that they use, they all release gas, and it's 99.9% pure cyanide. So it's very dangerous stuff if you don't know what you're doing. That's like I say, most of this information is right on YouTube. You can learn from YouTube. You can see my channel, what I'm doing. I'm learning. I'm still learning how to do this stuff. I just make sure I go the extra mile and take precautions. And I do warn people, because I don't want somebody to get sick or, hurt doing something that I did without proper protection, or at least knowledge that this is, this can happen. Okay, so what was that question? No, I'll tell you what. There's a place right here. All right, and you wanna reach out to Mitch. All right, let me see. I can't see the phone. It's called Brick in the Yard. All right, that's the place I get it. They're in Texas. Good morning, AMS. And here's, if you want to take a still shot, here's the phone number. All right. They're in Texas. You see that? It's in the shadow. Hold on. Oh, no, that's not in the shadow. That's just the sticker got. All right, there's a still shot. There's the information. There's the address. There's your website. You can go there. Tell them DJ Styles sent you from Custom Corpses. You can get this product there. I like to buy from them because they're that good. Now there's other places like Smooth On, that deal with mold making. I find that Smooth On is just a little more expensive, They're all kind of roughly around the same ballpark. If you're close to Texas, it's a home run for you. But I'm all the way up in Jersey, South Jersey, and the shipping kicks my butt whenever I get stuff. So I get my latex from Brick in the Yard. I also get my urethane. I get everything from Brick in the Yard. Just makes it easier. My pulleys, I get that stuff. This is a spray release. You want to make sure that you always have that on hand. And that's for concrete, the stuff, the bottle's all deformed, but that's another ease. That's another release agent. It's more like oil. And that's what I used inside this mold to release it. Go away. All right, not you guys. I'm just talking about I got these notifications from other companies. Can you get any of this local? Morning. Is there latex better than Monster Makers? I don't know. I don't know because I've used Monster Makers. They're pretty much all the same. Monster Makers, I might have to order some of that to really try it. So I can't really criticize Monster Makers because I've never really gotten it. I did get it. Where did I get that stump? I got it out of Pennsylvania. I got some latex out of Philadelphia, and I didn't like the way it cured. I don't want to blast anybody, any company. It might have been just that and it was right in the middle of COVID, so it might have been an old bucket sitting around that they only had, and the ironic thing was they only had one left on the floor, and I had to drive into the city right to their front door. Wasn't allowed to go inside the place. They put the bucket out on right on their little porch, on their little landing, and I had to pay through a little cubby hole, cash. I felt like I was doing a drug deal. It was really bizarre. And they weren't normally open. That's really what happened. They were actually shut down. But I begged and pleaded with the lady. I needed latex bad, and I couldn't get it shipped from. They were out of it at Brick in the Yard. Sometimes they run out of that stuff, so you have to take advantage of it whenever it's available. And it was ironic. It was so funny. I'm like, man, this is weird. I feel like I'm being. I still feel like I was being watched. It was just really weird. So, yeah, it was a kind of funny day. But I was right in the heart of the city too, right in the heart of the city of Philadelphia. I'll never forget that. That was funny. But yeah, beautiful day out here. I love it. Nice and breezy. You can hear it blowing around. I'm gonna have to order some of the Monster Makers to see how well. I did notice, like, if you don't take care of this latex from Brick in the Yard, if you don't really properly take care of it, putting baby powder on the inside, and well, that's not latex, this is urethane, but if you don't I don't use baby powder, I use cornstarch. If you put that on there, then the mask has no problems. But let me see. What's this say? I go live every time I'm doing something. Every time I'm going to do something. I've been pretty much not live during this March and April. I was actually trying to get this done, this master mold, but the weather was just too cold. We had cold weather still here. It was terrible. We're dealing with 40s and 50-degree temperatures, and this stuff doesn't like cold temperatures. So I just waited until we finally broke into the 70s. But the reason why I go live more than anything is because I don't want to store my videos on my phone. That fills up so fast, and I like to shoot my video in a higher resolution. So it's just easier to go live, and then it automatically uploads to the my live feed uploads to the channel. So I stopped doing that, recording onto the phone and then uploading from the phone. I just go live. It's just easier. I can go back and I can edit these videos, but right now, until I get all these masks done, then I'll work on editing my videos because I'm trying to beat the winter. I have 5 of these to do, 5 masks from the Michael Myers, my Night Creeper, that I'm planning on doing, and I have to get back into sculpting my master copy, or my sculpture. I just demolded it about a week ago to make this, and when I demolded it, there's a little bit of damage to it, but not much, because I use Monster Maker clay, and I use the hard clay, so it doesn't wreck, it doesn't destroy it too bad. You know, the nose gets messed up, the ears will always get destroyed when you're demolding, but I can fix all those little things, the general shape of the face and the eye cuts and everything. All that doesn't get destroyed, so you have the base sculpture intact when you demold it. Then all I have to do is go in. And my next plan is, this is the 78. Let me see what he got. What are you saying? Well, all right. If you don't care about your mold being destroyed, you can go with a softer clay. It's easier to work with your hands. The hard clay, I'm a tool guy. I like using tools on clay. I don't always, I work with my hands to get the general shape of the face. But when it comes to smoothing out and getting precise shaping, I use tools. And that part of me is because I'm a carpenter, for one. You know, I got my chops all out here. But I also used to do relief carving. I've never worked in clay in my life. I just started doing this mask making when COVID started. When COVID shut everything down, that's when I started doing this, because I didn't know whether my career was over, as my other career, and I thought, well, I got to do something. And I thank God I'm an artist, and I used to do relief carving in wood. All right, so I'm used to working with tools and carving tools and stuff like that. So I had that under my belt. So I applied my carving skills to the clay. And what I found was I love the clay 10,000 times better than working with wood, because of one reason. If I mess up on the clay, I just stick another little piece of clay in there and fix it. When you mess up with wood, forget it, it's over. You got to start over. And sometimes you got 15 months wrapped up into a sculpture, or not a sculpture, I'm sorry, a carving. And if you destroy it, you're done. There is no fixing it. And it shows up when you're like, it's hard to hide it. Now, you can hide some things, some mistakes you can make, you know, and still hide it. But there's been times where the wood split and there's just no way getting around it, you know. So I learned some valuable lessons all through the years of doing the relief carving. And, you know, so that's pretty much it with my story. Yeah, I go live every time I do something. When I'm getting ready to do something, like I'll be back on later on this afternoon after the 3 hours is up. And I'll be demolding this, and I'll be cutting off the excess foam that's here, and I'll probably shorten the pipe that's inside the head, so this thing that it sits on will be flush. The neck will be flush to the table. That's what I want, because when I go to make my mold, I want that being supported by the pipe, but at the same time, it'll be flush with the bottom of this. The neckline will be flush with the table. And it's important because when I go to make the new mold over the casting, I'll be able to, it'll really, you know, it'll be nice. It'll have a nice, I'll be able to square it right off to the table. Yeah, it's a one-piece mold I'm going to be making next. I make them one-piece mold, and then once I make that mold today, tomorrow the plan is, now I'm going to try and do the mold today. Let me reiterate on this. I'm going to try and do the mold today because we don't know how this is going to turn out yet. We got to see how this copy came out, and hopefully great. I'm pretty sure of myself that it is good, but you just never know. So, and then I will try to do a mold today, and a one-piece mold, not a two-piece like this is. You see there's a seam here, right there. There's a seam right here, and you can see it. That's a two-piece mold. That's the original mold that was on the clay. And the reason why you make a urethane copy is because urethane doesn't shrink like latex. Like if I make a latex mask in this mold, it'll be 2 inches smaller than the original size of the sculpture. And then what will happen is, which is good because then it gives me a smaller version of the mask. So what I'll do is I usually, like if I made a latex, I made another master copy. I made a latex mask in this. And then what I did was I let it shrink up a little bit, added foam to it with a pipe in it. All right. And then let that shrink up even more for like a week. And then I can cast a stone mold over that latex shrunken version, all right, to give you a smaller. And then when I make a casting in that mold, it's going to shrink 2 more inches. So you're going to go from this mold to down to the small size. It'll shrink 4 inches, about 4 inches in size. And that's perfect because that'll give me a 27-inch large and a 25-inch small mask. Yeah, a lot of people make the mistake when they're making masks of making their mold. They don't oversize them because you got to remember latex shrinks. So if you're trying to make a 24-inch mask or 25-inch, let's just round it off to 25. That's going to fit just about everybody. 25-inch adult. 24 is more for like a kid size head. And if you have a small head, there's a lot of people out there that have small heads too, but 25 inches is like the perfect size. Now, if you're only planning on having one size mask and you're trying to get to that 25-inch, make sure that your master copy, your clay sculpture is at least 27 to 27 and a half inches in diameter. That's what you want, 27 inches in diameter. And you just take one of those measuring tapes and you make sure that you have it to that size. Now me, I'm making 2 sizes. I'm making a large and a small. So instead of making a 27-inch, I think I made 27, 28. I think it was 29 inches total was my sculpture. My sculpture size was 29 inches, the actual clay sculpture. And when I made the master copy, it shrank down 27, made another copy of that, shrunk it down to 25. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, guys. Let me see who else is on here. Any other questions? So what you doing, AMS, today? What are you working on? Anything cool? I want to go check out your site and see what you're doing. Probably tonight. That'll be something for me to do. I'll watch your webs. Any of you guys here that do the mask making and you're watching me, and if you're doing stuff, I want to follow you as well. I am following AMS. I just haven't been on to watch the videos because I've been so wrapped up trying to get this stuff done. And London Moore, you know. Anybody else? Okay, so there's only one person on. It varies. It's like I had 4 people on, and 1 person on, 2 people on, 3 people on. There's, I'm not getting a lot of people. It might be the hour. It might be the hour. It's just you got to go on at the right time. I don't necessarily try to get a live audience because I really can't respond to you while I'm working. I have I use my phone as my camera. I have an iPhone 11 Plus or whatever. It's got the 4K. But I have it on the stand. I usually have this on the stand filming what I'm doing. Oh, okay. So you're 31st. Yeah, you better do that. That's a good idea, man. Change that. Do it today. Don't mess around. Get it done. Don't play. You know, it's so funny. I have a shirt from Alan Hops. All right. And on the shirt, let me see. I'll turn it around so you can see. Still P Studios, right? If you don't know who Alan Hops is, look him up. Still P Studios. On the back of the shirt, it says, "Go make stuff." Well, everybody says, "Man, your shirt's a mess. You let it get all dirty." I'm like, "Well, I'm making stuff." You know, so if you're going to buy somebody's shirt, make stuff in it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's funny. I just goofy. Being stupid. Anyway, yeah, I had a light out here. I was out here at 11 o'clock last night getting this getting this mold done. So I've been pretty busy. It's cooling down out here. The sun's going away. Yeah, get it done, man. Don't play. That's my point of this. Like, you know, my shirt's all dirty. That's because I'm doing stuff. Don't wait for tomorrow, and tomorrow sometimes never comes. You never know. The older you get, the more you realize that too. You know, you just don't know how much time you have. You just keep putting off and putting off and putting off, and you don't get nothing done. And I know one thing: as soon as I get these masks done, my plan is to get my property cleaned up. I'm going to be doing a lot of dump runs, getting this deck cleaned, and I got to get it fixed. Oh yeah, urethane, if you don't get it right, it's an expensive venture. It really is. I'm trying to remember what I paid for my urethane. I get it at Brick in the Yard. It was like $170 or $180 for no, am I wrong? It might have been. I got the 6-pound kit. I don't like buying the gallon kits with that because urethane rubber doesn't like to sit around. Neither does this stuff. It doesn't like to sit too long. This will harden up, especially the Part A, the TC266. But I do use I use the foam filling a lot more. So I'm already down to probably, I can do 2 more heads with this, and that'll be it. And then I'll have to order more. But the way I order my rubber is I get 2 of these. Hold on. All right, this is a poly. This is the urethane rubber. All right, this is the Part A. And these are both Part Bs. This is the yellow stuff. This stuff is yellow. There's 2 of those and 1 of those. So what's that tell you? And the reason why they come in the 6-pound, 6 pounds at a time, a little cheaper. I think it might have been $75. It might be. It might be. I can't remember. It's pretty expensive. Bottom line is, the way this mixes is, I'll put 1 full bottle for my first part. All right. I have to make sure that I only use half of this bottle, and you want to do it everything by weight on a scale. So if this bottle, you weigh this bottle, right? And whatever that weighs, you want to make sure that you half, All right, in other words, I weigh this bottle. All right, boom, it tells me how much it is. Now I take this bottle, part A, and this is the hardener. You put that on there, and then whatever that weight is, you cut that in half. All right. But what I always do to make sure I'm accurate is once I empty this bottle completely, drained out as much as possible, then I'll weigh the bottle and I'll subtract that number from my hardener. When I do this, when I do the hardener part, I'll subtract that number from it. This way, or I'll split that number in half, should I say. I'll subtract the number and split it in half. And then that'll give me the true weight of what my liquid is, not the liquid and the bottle. All right, so I need the weight of what's in the bottle, not so much the bottle itself, because even the cap is an extra few grams. So, and I usually use the gram scale. It's just a little easier. So that's the spent rubber that it's inside my urethane sealed mold. And I'll keep that mold because this rubber's coming off of here real nice. Peeling, look at it, it's peeling right off. It's coming right off. I don't even have to work that hard to get it off. So it's gonna come off that mold really good. I released that mold really nice. So I took the extra time last night, took my time and really, really sealed it with the paste wax. And then I turned around and put the Pt5 2650 over there. Can you see my hand where my point? Yeah, right there. And so, yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been doing. And like I said, I go live whenever I'm doing something. I try to put as many videos, I try to put a lot of videos up because I'm also trying to grow my channel. I'm always trying to grow I want to grow my channel because 2 years from now, I'm 60 years old. I plan on retiring very early. And this is what I'm going to do in my retirement time. And I took off this summer from my regular job, and I plan on getting healthy. I'm dieting like crazy, trying to lose weight, trying to get healthy, and then I want to get busy on this stuff. I'm really got a passion for this now. I don't even want to go back to doing the other. I don't want to go back to DJing. I do and I don't. You know what I mean? I know I'll miss it. By summer, I'll be ready to go back, no doubt. By the end of summer. But I took off mainly to get healthy. That's what I did. The late hours, it's killer. As a disc jockey, and I was getting broken sleep all the time because I'd be working on the weekends until 3 o'clock in the morning, and then coming home, get my sleeping schedule all screwed up, and then felt like crap for the pretty much half of the week, and couldn't do a lot. I wasn't getting work done. So by taking off this summer and getting up at a decent hour every morning and coming out here and getting things done, that's the plan. And get healthy at the same time. And so far, I'm doing pretty good with the healthy part of it. So dieting and eating right, and it's all part of getting old sucks. You ever have issues with the foam not filling all the gaps inside the latex mask? Oh yeah, you can have that happen. So what I usually do is if you're having like under like especially around the chin area, underneath the chin, sometimes you'll get an air pocket in there underneath the chin. And what you do is I like to pour a little bit of the foam. You got to mix it fast though. You got to get it mixed within 15 seconds at the most. Then pour that liquid inside your mask, and then slush that around all up inside the neck area, all in the areas that are, and then slush that around and then put it back down level and let it blow up. But you want to make sure that it's still in liquid form when you're slushing it around inside the mask. You have to make sure that you do that, because if you're foam filling and you just do what I did here. Now, the reason why I did it this way is because this stuff, I made it very thick. It's going to be strong, all right? Even if there's a little bit of an air pocket in there, it's still going to be strong enough to hold, withstand the stone, because I'm only going to make stone molds from that urethane copy. And I used all this in this mold. I used every drop of that last night. My first coat was with no polycarbon. I put that in there just in pure liquid form, and especially around the face area, I had the mold split in half, and I did both sides. And then I put it together once it cured enough. I put the molds together, and then what I did was I made another batch with the remaining one of these and half of that, and I put the polycarbon in it and really made it thick, like peanut butter, even thicker than peanut butter. And I put it inside of there, and then, well, you'll see if you watched last night's video, maybe it's still uploading. It might still be uploading because it's a really large. They take a while because I use a high quality setting on my phone. I don't know what it uploads at, but it's pretty high quality. So, oh, and the other thing, I didn't get to watch that. I have a funny feeling that that video cut off because my battery was low on my phone. And when it notifies you, it stops the video process. And I didn't know that, and it really ticked me off. So hopefully, I don't know how. I have to look at that film to see what we captured. I don't know when that notification popped up, and I don't know if it stopped the video recording. I don't know. So we have to see. I know it started right back up again as soon as I hit the notification thing on. I have to look at it. I thought I was out here longer than what it showed, as far as the numbers goes. The time, like right now, it says on here live for 52 minutes and 34 seconds. So that number wasn't there. I know I was out there longer than that. So the number, all of a sudden, it starts working again, and it's at 15 minutes. Like, wait a minute, something's not right here. So hopefully it captured what I was doing. I hope it does. You know, that otherwise everything I did last night was a waste of time. All because the phone battery was low. 20%. You're at 20%. Shut everything off just to let me know what I'm doing. You know, I'm low. Talk about piss you off. Well, I'm going to test market my mask on eBay. I don't know. Maybe Etsy. I don't know what. I mean, where do you think the collectors are? Where are they at? Are they going to eBay? Or are they going to other sources? I don't want to do websites. You know, you're very limited to how many of these you can sell, first of all. I'm really targeting collectors. I'm not really targeting the average person. I want to test market the sculpture, you know, how it's done. I've already got a lot of positive feedback from collectors on this particular sculpture that I did. But you know, the proof is in the money. You know, when you start making money doing it, then you're doing something right. You know, somebody can compliment it, but if they're still not willing to spend that money for that mask, it's telling you that the mask isn't good enough. So this is my last attempt at doing a Michael Myers mask. I'm going to do, don't get me wrong, I'm going to do the age 2018 from this mold. Yeah, see, now I've never sold on eBay, so I don't know whether I want to go on eBay, Facebook, and Instagram. See, the problem is, you got to be careful when you're, because this is copyrighted, all right? So you know, because it's Michael Myers. You know, I can call it anything I want, but it's still a copyrighted, protected product. So with that being said, I'm very limited to how many I can sell per year. I've been told like up to 25. That's it. 25 masks is about all you're going to be able to sell without them coming after you. So, and the other thing too is I think you have to put it on eBay, and you actually can't even put a starting bid. You can't put a start. You can put a starting bid, but you can't put a price on it. I can't put a buy it now for this or buy it, because then I put a price on it, and then it tells the, you know, that you're selling them. It's a just gray area. You know, you have to put a starting bid on it, even if you're putting a starting bid on yourself. People have done that from another location on another computer, or get a friend to do it, you know, and get a starting bid going and just see what happens, you know. See what happens. That's how Nick Molpagano does it. You know, he does it on eBay. He never sets a price. And, you know, it's just a bidding war. So, but he's well established as a artist, and he's been doing these masks for years, where I've always been doing it for a couple of years. I've only been doing this for a couple of years, so, you know. No matter how long you've been doing this, it always comes down to your sculpture. What in the world is that? Look at this, guys. I can't zoom in. What kind of rodent is that? Is that a rat? See it right next to the shed? It's out here. It's eating the flowers. What in the world is that? Talking about wild animals, I live in the woods. I have a lot of, all behind my house and all over here. This is all state property. And it goes for like 2 or 3 miles of nothing but woods before you hit Rio Grande. So it's like nothing but woods. There's a big lake back there. There's a pond back there as well. And I mean, there's coyotes in my yard every night. I hear them tussling along they ran across here last night, and I saw eye shine in my video last night, right over here. Somewhere's over here. I saw it. Caught it out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, wow, okay, what? I knew I heard coyotes. Now I can tell the difference between the animals, because I've been out here all my life just about, and I can tell what kind of animal it is just by the way it's scurrying through the woods. And I can tell the coyotes because they're just really loud. And the deer, you can hear they're heavier, and they sprint. They do this da-doom, 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 da-doom. That's how you can hear it going through the woods, and they go through pretty quick. That's when you know it's a deer. I just all kinds of freaky animals around here. Got to get my pool up and running. Got to get that up and running this coming Saturday. I got some people coming over to do that because I'm getting too old to handle it myself. So I'm gonna open it and we'll see. I'm not too enthused about that. I'm just not into it as much as I used to be. But you know what? I'll use it as my exercise. I'll be exercising in that pool over the summer. Got to get in shape. But anyway, guys, what are we talking about here? Fees are so high on eBay. Yeah, let's get back to talking about that. Instagram, Facebook. I have to have something where the people can bid. I can't actually outright sell it. I can't sell it in, I can't put a price on it and say, hey, it's, $300, it's $500, whatever. I can't just put a price on it because then they can come after you. So you have to bid. But also, what's nice about doing that is you're test marketing. If somebody's willing, even if you're paying a large fee to eBay, you're test marketing your mask to get a general idea of how much it's worth. You know, people will get into a bidding war if it's a really nice piece and people really like it, and the collectors more or less, they'll go crazy. They'll get silly, man. I saw Nick sell one of his masks for like $3,700 when he first came out with his 13 mask. I thought, oh my God, crazy. Everybody loved it though, so it was a good mask. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this mask. I've got a lot of compliments from it, and guy that comes on here all the time, Crusher, he seems to think that this looks like the Ken Hurtland mask. Uh, Very similar, has a lot of the same details. It wasn't done on purpose. I was just my own spin on what I think is a perfect Michael Myers mask. You know, I took elements from everything that's out there, and created my own version. And it's an original copy. It's not like I don't want to copy somebody else's work. I don't want to make an exact replica of, say, Nick Cat or I don't want to make an exact replica of, like, Nick Mulpagano's 13 mask. He's already done it. If you want that mask, get his mask. Mine's going to be just a little different. You know, it's going to be a lot different. You know, it's not a lot different. It's just different. You know, I don't. You know, that's for you guys to decide whether you like it or you don't. It's not really up to me. I like it. I think I hit a home run with this, maybe a grand slam. Who knows? We'll see. I'm not being conceited, being realistic. I've made enough. I've made 3 attempts at this mask already, and it ain't easy. It's a hard mask to really master. But I swore up and down that I was not going to walk away from this last sculpture until I really felt like I had really nailed it. And at the same time, I did a little studying on the human anatomy, especially the head. I did, you know, the muscles that are in the face. I know where that's all at. I know how much the eyebrow or the eye, what do they call it? The scowl overhangs from the bottom of your eye to the top of your eye. You know, I know all the measurements now. So it was like I applied that knowledge to the sculpture, which I never did before. So, you know, it definitely took it over the top. It made it look right. The anatomy thing, that's the secret. That's the secret. You got to really study the human anatomy a little bit to be a good sculptor when it comes to human faces or heads or whatever you're doing, skulls. You know, really study the anatomy. You have to allow for the muscle and the cheek, puffy cheeks, and how does it fall. You also have to think about gravity. As we age, like when we're born, we don't have any wrinkles or, you know, creases in our forehead from, you know, grinning or, you know. So the older we get, I'll explain that when I show you the copy. But you get a there's certain ways you can't. I was like trying to carve in the features, and then once I realized, wait a minute, we're dealing with gravity, we're dealing with flesh that's actually falling. The weight of the excess flesh that's on your face, it falls. So that creates like not so much a carved out ridge, it's literally just a hanging. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain, but I mean, once I realized, you know, the little tricks, I was going, oh, okay, well, let's do it. Let's approach it this way. And instead of carving out, I was adding to. And boom, It looked realistic. I was like, oh man, you know, just those little things that you do that just that you find and learn. And I'll apply that. Now this fall, I'm going to take you guys on a ride that you're going to love. This fall, I plan on signing up for, come on, Stan Winston's School of Art. And I want to do an online course with that. And I'm going to apply things. I'm going to do things, make things. And I'm going to put my own little twist to it, but I'm going to share that knowledge, pretty much. I'm going to share the knowledge. And that's my plan for this fall, into the winter, all next winter. Hopefully by then I have all my masks done. I don't know how ends is going to look. The new the mask that they're going to use in ends, but as soon as we know what that looks like, that'll be the last mask. Actually, it's not the last mask. My second to last mask is ends, and then the very last mask is going to be my concept, because I already have something in my head that I want to put into the clay. I definitely want to make my sculpture into the final ends version of the. I'm going to make my rendition of what I think ends should look like. And there's little things that I saw on the internet where they're showing skull through the I guess the right eye, which makes no sense, because in the right eye, all right, his left eye has the needle through it. The needle went into his eye, or he got stabbed in the eye. All right, so he has no vision in his left eye. In the picture that I saw of the skull, his right eye was gone because there was no eye in the skull socket. So he has no vision. So how's Michael Myers seeing? Well, if you look at Halloween 2, 1981, he gets shot in both of his eyes. So, but he was still coming at her. Very interesting. Anyway, I don't know that I want to attack that remaining only eye that he has. I think I'll make my version more realistic towards the eye that's in his left eye. The one that's already damaged, that's going to be the side where I'm going to expose the skull, and that also has the burnt side. So, and the other thing people don't realize is you don't want to do too much to the eye sockets of the Michael Myers mask, because the eye cuts in the mask is what makes the mask look scary. So if there's going to be any tears or anything showing through in my mask, the eye cuts are not going to be affected. I'm not changing the eye cuts. They might be a little distorted, a little bit of tear in it, but I won't destroy what makes Michael Myers in my view. And that's the eye cuts on the mask. It really is creepy. The blackened out eyes you can't see. It's just so creepy. And it freaks people out. I can tell you stories when we were experimenting with the mask that I made last year. My brother's 6'6", went into a theater. All right. And first we're getting pictures. People were taking pictures with the mask, and he had full getup. He had the full costume. Looked great. People were running up, hey, can we take a picture? Yeah, come on. So he's taking pictures. So we decide we're going to go into the theater and do something pretty cool. So what's he do? He goes in, sits down to a group of girls while Halloween Kills is on the theater, on screen. And they don't really take notice to him. It's dark, the screen, the movie's on. And he sits down right next to a group of girls, in an aisle. And they don't really pay attention to what it looks like. All of a sudden, the one girl that's sitting next to him, she looks over at him, and he turns real slow and looks at her, right? And oh my God, she jumped up off the chair into the back aisle All right, screaming her fucking head off. Excuse my language. Sorry. Slip. Sorry, guys. So it's not made for kids today. Screams her head off, and all of a sudden, the other girls they notice them, and they're jumping out of the chairs, and they're scattering all over the place. Oh, my God. So we got into a little trouble with that, with the theater. The theater didn't like that, but it was so cool. And I wish I videoed it. I couldn't because it was so dark. I couldn't see in there that well. The camera wasn't showing. It wasn't showing real well, so you couldn't really see what was going on. But man, if that had been just a little bit brighter, that would have been so cool to get that on video. It really was funny. But so anyway, now that I dropped an F-bomb in my video, I'm not real happy about it. And I apologize to Facebook. Apologize to anybody that hears it, don't like that language, and neither do I. I try not to use it. But sometimes it slips. Rare. But anyway, I'm going to jump off of here, guys. AMS, change that name today. Don't play around, dude. Put that 31st on there. Get it done. Get it done. So hey, when you put the AMS on there, I'm thinking I'm talking to somebody else. I've started following you on your on the 31st. I started following your page. It was awesome. Like your content, like what you're doing. Keep doing what you do, but definitely don't wait around. Change that name right away. So, all right, man. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll be back in probably about 2 hours now. Now that I've talked this, about 2 hours, and this should be ready to go. I'll be able to pull it out of here. I can't wait to see what this looks like, and I'll catch it. We'll definitely put it on the camera stand, and I'll back it up a little bit so you can see the whole. I'll put this on top of the table once I clear this off, and demold it. All right, guys. Peace. See you in about an hour. No, 2 hours. About 2 hours. Hour and a half, maybe. Just keep an ear out. Keep watch for the notification. And if you don't want to catch me live, that's fine. This will be uploaded. You'll be able to see it on YouTube. All right. Peace. I'll see you.